But just to enjoy a couple of wonderful breaths as we're sitting here relaxing. Our big focus that I have planned for today is around helping to release some of tension in like the head, neck, shoulder area. And so to give us an image to focus on, let's allow ourselves to focus on the seasons. And so when we're in summertime, it's very heated and it's just the temperature getting your body so much hotter than normal like this sometimes can aggravate our emotions where we start to feel anxious or stressed or just angry for no good reason except for you're just hot. And that's very common in the summer. And so as we're heading eventually toward a transition toward the fall, we'll start to notice that the world is getting cooler and that there's not so much of that just immediate anger, stress, tension in our body. And so the practice today, while we're still in the middle of all this summer heat, is to help us introduce some tension relieving and body cooling types of movements. So this will be a lot of stretches, a lot of breathing, things like that, and that'll be our focus. So just think of imagining that you're inviting coolness in the midst of that heat. And when you exhale, you're releasing out any heat so it doesn't have to be built up within your own body. Now there's a specific breath that helps us cool down our body when it's these hot summer days. And this breath can be done one of two ways, depending on if you can do a taco tongue with your, like rolling the tongue up or not. So if you can do a taco tongue, you're going to do that roll and then breathe in your tongue like a straw. That'll be your inhale, and then your exhale is just long and slow out the nose. So that's version one. If there's anybody who can't do a taco tongue, you'll take version two, which is teeth breathing. You open your lips really wide, and your teeth are clenched, and so you breathe through your teeth. And then you exhale out your nose. So either way, the inhale is through that mouth, through the taco tongue, or through the teeth. And that breath in is like a swamp cooler. You're picking up the moisture of your mouth to cool down your lungs and your body. And then your exhale, just normal, let some of the heat out. So let's go through a few rounds. I'm going to take at least 5 or 6 good slow rounds. And then a little bit of stillness after that, just to feel the body having received that beautiful breath. So when you're ready, pick whichever version you're doing, and let's take a few breaths. Maybe one more. And then just relax into your normal breath for a few rounds. Imagine you've invited cool temperature into the body. And as the body cools, the emotions are able to cool. We're able to meet our daily challenges with less heat, more of that cool, calm head. So just enjoy another normal breath in and out. And then from here, we're going to start taking our right knee into the chest. Hug around that right knee. Maybe the ankle roll wants to happen, just loosening up some tightness. When you're ready for the hamstring stretch, extend the leg all the way up to the sky, give it a nice stretch. And And allow the breath to continue slowly. So that way it's not feeling like you're rushing through anything. It's this quality of slowing down, getting closer to the winter time, which is essentially almost like hibernatory time for us. So one more breath right here. And then hook your ankle on that back left part. That way you can slide the shin in. We've got the right hip open. Enjoy another wonderful inhale. Exhale, start to release the leg. Give it maybe one more tug. And we drop it down. Right side feels good. Let's hug around left knee. Maybe some nice ankle rolls. And leg can start stretching up to the sky when you're ready. Getting into that hamstring again. Lifting the heel, let's slide it in. Let's take one more deep breath. Keep it slow. Releasing the leg, it stretches up one last time. This leg drops down. Let's pop the head off, free off the back end of the fabric. And making sure the shoulders are not rounded forward, kind of squeeze the elbows into the sides. And then let the head just drape over backwards for a moment. We're not trying to crunch the bones much, but we are allowing the throat to stretch. To see if you can kind of rest the head on the pillows that the shoulders make. Just 2 more slow breaths through that throat. Chin comes into her chest, and then arms stretch up overhead to a good inhale. Exhale, we're going to take one roll up to stretch over our 2 straight legs. Legs getting that wonderful chance to stretch together. Head gets to just drape forward and hang the head down. Not too much pressure, not too much tension. Just that wonderful release. As the right hand slides over to the left foot or ankle, that allows the left hand to stretch up to the sky and then to reach to the wall behind you. Make sure you're allowing the neck to gaze all the way toward that back hand, getting that nice stretch through those muscles that help us twist the head to the side. Make sure your left leg is straight, right leg is okay to be a little bit bent. Another nice inhale. Exhale, the hand starts to come all the way back forward. Release both arms to drape over the legs. Go back through the center for a moment. And we'll start to switch it out. So left hand to right foot, right leg goes straight, and then the right arm is able to circle up through the sky, reach all the way behind. Let the neck stretch over as it gazes toward that right hand. Beautiful. Start to return all the way forward. One last release over these two legs. Maybe the low back can take a slightly straighter alignment and then release back over into the draped, rounded position. One more nice inhale. Exhale, start to rise up. Kick the feet free off the front. Go immediately into our inversion. Fabric coming to the pant line behind us. As you lean back, wrap the legs. Feel your spine draping. Especially taking a moment for the neck to just be loose. So maybe purposely go shake the head no, yes. Making sure all that feels good. If you eventually would like to shift to other things, opening the arms, doing crunches, other things like that, you're absolutely welcome to. Staying as long as this feels good and helpful for our body. Not any sort of pressure to do too much today. Whichever side helps you to face toward me, go ahead and bunch up your fabric to that side. Walk your arms straight and then get that leg up and over. And then here we're gonna do some of those cat-cows. Instead of legs going wide this time, try to keep the inner thighs squeezed together. And so when you straighten the arms, your spine rounds back to the cat. Legs try to lift straight up in front of you. When they drop down, kind of switch your grip so your elbows are forward, and then your head goes slightly back, especially expose the throat to stretch that part of the neck. So it's less about the back today, though that is part of it. It's more about the head. Really round the chin into the chest, and then let the throat stretch all the way up as you pull your heart through. Nice breathing. Let's take 3 more rounds at your own pace. It might be faster or slower than me. And last one. Good. Legs come inside. Just going to the nice wide stretch for a moment. As the arms are pushing the fabric wide, let your right ear drop over your right shoulder. Again, the head comes up to neutral, left ear drops over left shoulder. And head back up, slide the right hand down the right leg. As you start to stack the shoulders, let the head drop back down to right shoulder, and then left arm reaches up and over. Okay, arm up, and then spine up. Slide the left hand down, left ear drops down, and right hand reaches over. Rising up, bottoms of the feet can touch together for a moment. Let your forehead rest forward for a few breaths. Feeling that nice release, the very good support. And then head up, let the back of the head rest backwards. Okay. Start to free the feet out each of their ends. And then bunch it up the fabric. Take the shin that's toward the front of your mat and take that shin up onto the fabric in front of you. Just enjoying that hip opening for a moment. Make sure head's relaxed, so that could be resting backwards. That could be resting chin forward and down to stretch the back of the neck. It could even be taking turns, dropping left ear down and right ear down. Adding extra emphasis to that neck area that we don't always carry with us. And then taking the arch of the foot onto the gathered fabric, let it straighten up. This could be a place where you try to drop your forehead to the knee, or if you're straightening your spine, maybe your chin to your knee. Just play with that. If that feels good in the head, you don't have to take those options, or you can always just take them for a moment. And release. Second shin up for the hip opener. Any freedom you'd like to find for your head, explore through that. Arch of the foot up, slide it up. And then as the foot drops back to the front of the mat, we're facing forward, shift the hips even. Take a moment to clasp the hands behind your back. Postures up tall. Both hands shift to the right hip and right ear drops over right shoulder. Okay, as head goes back up, let's take it down higher. Just one good thin layer to cover up your shoulders. All the extra goes down to the feet. And then take some time being upside down to enjoy the length of the neck as shoulders are pushed far away from that position. If there's little things you want to play with, you can. For instance, I sometimes like to bring my feet away from the outer edges and just balance in the center. So if you want to try to play with that balance, that's okay. I'm trying to play with hiking. You can do all sorts of variations. Or you can just stay with stillness, enjoying the shoulder press. Make sure your head's relaxed. Take a couple of good breaths. And 3 or 4 more breaths if needed. Eventually you will reach the point where you are ready to come up, but no rush to go. If you need a few extra breaths here, that's beautiful. When you reach the point that your head, your body, everything is giving you a good thumbs up sign, we'll start to lift our hips up and out the front end. Leaving the fabric where it is, we circle our hands above the head once, twice, grip on. And we're going to do those huge hip circles, but the focus is on the neck this time. So the neck is going to the opposite direction that the hips are. So as we start off, hips going back, let the chin go down. belly, hips go to the left side, and the right ear goes over right shoulder. Take your time, make your way comfortably there. When your hips go forward, your head rocks backward. Hips to the right, ear to the left. And then rolling back down to start. Rise up for a moment, or we can close the hands a couple of times. And we're going to try to emphasize the head again, going to the other direction with our hips. Take it at your own pace. Finish, free your hands out, shake your hands out. Might still be a little high. Are you okay with that for right now? Okay, sounds good. Okay, so very light pressing of the wrists into the fabric to lean forward. Maybe little wiggles with your hips left and right. Maybe head just drapes completely down, relaxing as the shoulders are releasing into the stretch forward. Bending the knees, roll our way up so that we can grip on, very light grip still, release back forward. Sway over to the right side, bending the right elbow down. And straighten through the center. Take it to the other direction, bending left elbow. Good. Back to the center. Bend the knees, roll our way up. And we're going to open the fabric just a little bit to cover our chest. We don't really want to get too much into the belly area, so think of the rib cage from the armpits to the bottoms of the ribs covered. And then we're kind of just loosely draping forward. That bend, the arms are completely up the front. So from here, start to come forward like a plank. You're feeling your core start to engage, your glutes start to engage. Maybe the arms rise up by your ears. Take another breath here. And then bend the knees. You're gonna keep this connection to the chest as you come back. And then as you start to head backwards, it's going to be your arms catching the fabric, and then your weight is more in your legs than just planking backwards. So it's turning it into a huge arch to the spine. The arms open, and then you can bring your hands behind the head. This is a nice supported, complete arch to the spine. The back bend, the fish pose. Kind of a variation of all of it. You even want to just drape the head backward without the hand. That's okay also. And so we're going to repeat that a few times. Bend the knees to start transferring forward through the plank. Arms can come up by the ears. And then keeping the chest connection, go low. And then as soon as the arms can make sure that you won't lose the fabric, try to straighten up, hips go forward, and take the feet back and backwards. Let's go for 3 more of those. Forward plank. And back bend. Two. And 1. Grab onto the fabric to help you rise upward and release. Here we're going to end up in Malasana squat with our head in the fabric from behind. We don't want it to be in the neck area. We don't need extra pressure in the nerves themselves. Make sure it's just around the skull. So you're finding the end of the fabric, or the middle of it, trying to find a nice balance spot. Take it to wrap around the skull, and then spreading the feet at least as wide as the mat, we start to sit back. I like to make sure I'm kind of squatting to one side as I'm preparing things so that way I'm not getting too soon. But I do like to keep my hands high to make sure I can relieve any pressure I need with my hands. So then eventually we're in this nice wide squat. The head is kind of getting pulled back. It may cover your ears, so sorry if it gets harder to hear me. But try to just let the neck go long. You absolutely can play with this. You could shift left and right and feel how that affects your neck. You could also push back to have slightly more stretch, or swing slightly forward to take a little bit less. Hands can even drop to knees for a little while if you wish. No pressure to do that. Let's take 3 more breaths. Imagine we're cooling our body down. Pull on the fabric to help us come, swinging the fabric free off the front. We're going to pull ourselves into a nice arch backwards. And then when you want to stand, just pull upward on the fabric to help you rise. Shaking the hands out. Good. So our neck is feeling more open. Our heart is feeling more open. This next one is called a fish pose. It's inside the fabric. And it's kind of funky, so I want you to follow with me step by step. I'm going to come on this end so that you can literally do the same thing that I'm doing as I say it. So I want you to, and Fletcher, you can decide if you can't really see me, if you're facing this way also, ultimately in it, you can do everything in reverse. Just pay attention to left and right and just do everything opposite. So we are going to take our left foot inside. We're standing right behind plumb line. We're gripping up super high so we can try to do a slow, controlled rise up. And then you're taking your glutes and your back onto that left side of the fabric. From here, your right arm straightens the fabric out in front of you and your right foot steps up high. You start to inch your way down until you're in a nice 90-degree angle, but you don't want the fabric on your tailbone, so lift up and shift it to the right glute. Kind of just lift your hips up like a slight arch to scoot over to right glute. And you're not on any bones, you're in that flush of the glute. And you can continue to grip right above the head. Make sure you're in a comfortable 90-degree angle where you can kind of maintain the seat for a while. Yeah, okay. So from here, and if you want to watch first, that's okay. I'm gripping up slightly above my head. I'm allowing my head to go off the left side while I have my right glute here. And then I'm going to go into a fish pose. So I need to push my feet into the fabric to come to a straight plank. And then I'm going to continue to arch backwards, the fish pose. So this one's a really good massage on that right shoulder. You can always come down when you need to, going back to the right glute. You can always come down if you need a little bit, yeah. You can join back in a moment when it feels good. And if you haven't come down yet, go ahead and come down. We're going to just rest for a moment. Sometimes it's fun to play when you're resting to see if you feel comfortable. Maybe one hand releasing, maybe both hands releasing, just to feel the balance here. Okay, we're gonna need to switch our legs out to get to the second side, so grip back on. Switch it so left foot is on top, and then the fabric is switching over to left glute. Okay, when you're in position, you are gripping up overhead. You flatten back out to the plank, and then you continue to slide fabric down the shoulder. This is to get that massage on the left shoulder. You can always come down early. I'm right about that point. I'm happy too. So if you'd like to join me down, this time as the fabric's slightly toward that left glute, we're going to come into a cross-leg shape. So your bottom shin can come in, and then your top shin comes in. It's essentially like a cross-leg position. And then from here, again, you can grip on the whole time, or maybe you can release your hands and just feel your balance here. On the shin, you can come in even tighter, more to ankle, like a lotus pose. Feel your breath slowing, calming. Let's just take 3 more breaths. When you're ready to come out, one hand goes onto each side of the fabric. You free out your shoulders, and then just pull yourself up, step out gracefully. Graceful. With as much grace as we have available to us today. Let's go ahead and go into a nice shadow back inversion from here. Set this fabric behind you. Changing the massage to a totally different area on our low back as we just let ourselves hang. You can do the full wrap if you want. Again, after that massage we got for the shoulders this time, see if there's additional release downward, perhaps. You can always play with variations that you know. That's always beautiful. We're out to this stargazer for house. We're bending one knee to really put our whole side body up to the neck. Get pulled long laterally. And then straighten that leg, bend the other. safe to be more upright than standing. Walk yourself backward. And then when you're free, you're going to come just slightly in front of the fabric, kneeling down. You can always double up your mat to kneel if you wish. And from here, we've got two options. We're again going to get the fabric onto our head. You can do this through a camel pose, grabbing onto the fabric to start leaning backwards. My recommendation though, if you can get the hips to sit all the way back, is just simply lean back. Letting your arms straight down, let your neck be pulled nice and long. If it feels like you're not able to lean enough, just walk forward slightly and re-enter the pose. Rising up, we're sitting on our feet. We shift around so that our left leg is forward, and then our right foot is going to be tucked into the side. The first thing we'll do is simply lean forward, and I stretch for the left leg. So that release all the way down from the neck down to the low back. And then sitting up, grab the fabric and use the fabric to help you find a good quad stretch for the right side. So maybe you're just leaning partly back, letting the head relax. Maybe the fabric lowers you all the way down to the ground. Keep the grip if you're all the way down, so that way it can help you rise back up later. So let the head come in first, turn toward the chest, and then pull yourself back up to sit. Switch the legs out. And then we go forward. Try to find as much release as possible through the vertebrae. And then back up. Same thing, grabbing onto a safe place to either support you in the quad stretch or to help you slowly lower all the way back. Turn in, rise up. Let's work our way up to stand. You can use the fabric or not. Let's just do one last little stretch for shoulders. So wave out the fabric from the front. Put your elbows inside. Elbows are trying to be at least to the shoulder height, if not slightly higher. And we're going to do the slight back bend variation today so that we can just have one more chance to open the heart. So you'll start walking forward so that you're already starting to stretch the pecs, and then just start to lean the hips even more forward than that, just a little bit. Nothing too intense. You can step one little tiny half foot step backwards to lean deeper. But you just have to play with that right positioning for you. And let's go 2 more breaths. If you want to stay a couple bonus breaths, that's okay. If you're ready to come to Shavasana, flip your grip so the thumbs are hooked. Take your 5 grips or so of fabric. Toggle back under plumb line. Come all the way into Shavasana. Feel the whole body comfortable. Feel the breath comfortable. We're releasing. We're so happy to be alive. Introduce little movements back to fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Stretching out before waking up, first thing in the morning. Wiggles left and right. Anybody that wishes to take a nice fetal position, take a few rounds to each direction. As we rise up, our hands join in front of the heart. And just sense within your body how calm, cool, and collected everything is. Realize that even as we go amidst this hot day, as we go into the nice summer heat, we don't have to take that energy upon ourselves. We can be the calmest, most relaxed, least tense person in any room that we find ourselves in. So allowing ourselves to have this calmer presence as we travel through the rest of this day. Let's allow ourselves to wrap up this time we got to share together with the sound of Om. Taking a deep inhale now. May we be filled with light and happiness and peace. Namaste.